going on, everybody? It's Mike over at Valley Vapors, and today I'm going to be doing the review on the GI2 Box Mod. This thing is all about power. This thing is about clouds, and I'll show you why here in just a few minutes. These things are all about power. Break this down by putting the batteries in. There's the back plate. What it does, it's not a magnet. It slides right up. Slides up pretty easily. It does have a little bit of resistance in there, simply because you don't want it just flying off whenever you turn it upside down in your pocket or you toss it in the side seat of the car. Not that I recommend doing that. But let's get into the internals of this thing. Inside, it's really nice, closed off very well. You can see some of the circuitry in here, the chip, but that's just for the batteries. Same thing on the bottom side. Inside, it actually has a micro SD card. What that's for is you can actually upload photos onto this. They have to be very small. I have the manual here, but they have to be 128 by 160 pixels, I'm assuming, so that's really, really tiny. So you may have to do a bit of resizing before you put them on here. In here, it has the photo for the batteries. They do go opposite ways, so just pay attention to that. Always use the same brand of batteries, simply because they're going to put the same performance out. You don't want anything that's maybe a battery that's doing 30 amps and then one doing 36. That's not good for anything. Doesn't matter if it's GI2, the Sigeli, anything else, don't do that. So in here, what you want to do, in this case, negative side, and then you're going to go the opposite way. Just follow the picture. It's kind of dummy proof. There you go. They are in there. And then you slide this back cover on with the arrow facing up with the GI oriented correctly. So you just slide that in. So as you can see, this is the GI2 by Grand Innovations. This will pop up whenever you get the batteries in. Just kind of hold that button down for a second and it'll turn on. It's going to read the memory card and everything like that. I'll break this screen down here in just a few minutes. But I want to talk about the shape, the way that this thing is made. I really, really like the curves on this thing. The way that it's made just holds really, really well in your hand. As you can see, I don't have massive hands. I don't have little hands. I'm about average size, I guess. But this holds perfectly into the bends of my fingers and my thumb. It's awesome. You have your two buttons here on the side, and you have the two buttons on the front. This top button here is going to be your fire button and your power button. And then this button here, I'm going to call it a function button. They didn't really put an exact name to it, but this can get you right now. This is in variable wattage mode. So if you go with the button on the right hand side, you're going to start cranking those volts up. But if you hit this bottom button and the left button at the same time, you get into variable wattage. So I'm going to crank this thing all the way up. Gets there pretty quickly. Does in 1 watt increments. And to get back the other way, you simply bottom button and the other way. So, and it does it like that. As of right now, I don't have an atomizer on here, obviously. So the resistance and everything isn't going to be reading. Something cool about this, it is 510. Everything I put on here is pretty flush. This is not an adjustable pin. However, it is something better. It's a floating pin. It is spring-loaded. So if the 510 connection on your Addy, whether it be a Dark Horse, a Plumeveil, Little Boy, Freak Show, whatever it is, if it's a little bit too long and you normally have to, lower that pin down, this is spring-loaded. It will automatically adjust for you, which is pretty awesome. On the screen, it has this cool little, I guess, animation or whatever you want to call it, of a coil. Obviously, if we built a coil like that, it'd be horrible. Somebody would throw it right back at us. It's got everything that you need. It has a second counter for your last vape. It has the battery life. That's how much power is left. This is a very, very advanced box mod. It will actually adjust the wattage and voltage according to your build based on the battery life. So you may crank it up to 100 watts, but whenever you start to fire, it may drop down to 88. That's only because that's going to be the safest output power for your batteries, and it's also going to be the best vape possible. This thing is really advanced. There's a big learning curve on this. I'm really not going to break down the menu too much. So down here, you have your lock, you have settings, you have the micro SD card, and then you have like a little, I guess, a help function. I haven't gone into it, honestly. I just kind of messed with it myself and figured it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw the Stellar V3. We're running the Hydra. This is the same one that I did the Sigeli video with. And as I was saying, the Sigeli has a nice ramp-up time and everything, so it's a very, very smooth vape. Great flavor and everything else. All around, it's awesome. In this, it is all about power. As you can see, you hold the fire button down, and it goes. There is about a 1/4 second delay on both ends. So I'm pressing the button now and letting go. So as you can see, it's about a 1/4 second. It's nothing to worry about. It's just the way that this goes. Because of all the adjusting that these chips in this do, it only takes about a 1/4 second for it to adjust and give you the best vape. But it makes up for it at the end of your vape in that last 1/4 second. So it's nothing to worry about. It's awesome. I'm going to go ahead, and right now I'm going to show you, I'm going to go into wattage mode, and I'm going to crank it all the way up to 100 watts, which will give me 5.8 volts. This is reading 0.34, and that gives you all the information here on the screen. Battery life, these are not the newest batteries. I've been using them on the Sigeli for a while, vaping on the Atlantis. I did the review on the Atlantis a day or two ago, depends on whenever this video gets posted. But I'm going to hit the fire button now, and you'll see this wattage drop. And it drops down to 88. And that does adjust the voltage to 5.5. That's just going to give you the best vape. Really, this thing, there's a lot to it, but I'm trying to break it down simple for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and take a vape on this thing. This is also a real-time battery indicator. So if I don't vape on it for a couple minutes, as you see right there, the battery goes up, and then the battery may go back down. It's real-time, just like the Sigeli, but instead of percentages, it's this cool little picture. Let me go ahead and take a vape on this. It's 5.5 volts at 88 watts on a 0.34 Hydra coil. This thing puts out clouds, guys. Now, with it putting out so much power, the flavor is diminished a little bit. Granted, certain atomizers and RDAs may be bigger flavor producers. It also is going to depend on your build. This Hydra coil is 6 verticals, wicked as a dragon, so it's all about heat anyway. So this is just a full-on power setup. So I'm going to take another vape off of this. And as you can see, that thing is a crazy cloud. It's all about power. I don't get an incredible amount of flavor on this. It's all about power. On the Sigeli, as you may remember, we're saying that it is an all-around amazing vape. It has power, it has good flavor. Best on the Sigeli is about a 0.4 to a 0.5 resistance. Here, you can go to that true 0.10. And it's going to put out as much power as this thing can handle. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the vaping angle, is what I'm going to call it now. Alright guys, here I am. I'm going to go ahead and drip on this because it did dry out already. About 1-2 pulls, that's all I can get. I'm going to go ahead and vape this. Like I said, it's at 88 watts, 5.5 volts. Check it out, guys. Yeah, like I was saying, this is all about power. This is going to give you those big clouds that you cloud chasers want. Flavor does diminish a little bit, but the power is there. So, as you can see, the GI2, here in stock, we have it available in black and in blue. We only have 2 left in stock, guys, so pick them up quick before they are gone. From everybody here at Valley Vapors, keep calm and vape on.